Hi everyone, welcome back on this new live. Alright, if it's the first time you caught me live, just let me know that I can greet you properly. If you've been here, welcome back. If you think we're having a lot of conversation over the summer, there will be, I believe, a before and an after. If you feel that those conversations are going to be beneficial to someone you may know, share the information. Either it's the Facebook group here, either it's the podcast. If you know someone that will benefit from the conversations we have this summer, share the link to the podcast. All right. I've been reflecting a lot, and for those who follow me on Instagram, you see I share a bit more about the backstage, and you see where I write a lot, I get a lot of journaling done, I get a lot of information coming through, and a lot of reflection. And I feel it's helping to see how the world functions and how we function and how society works. Something I've been reflecting a lot those days is definition of being independent and how society shape mainly women to be financially independent and to be strong and to be successful in every single area. Why it's a topic that came to my mind? Because being strong and financial independent and strong independent overall is something that I've always wanted. And I grew up with that idea in mind, and I can still see myself as a teenager being in my room and wishing one day to be like those super successful women that have a career and that look like the warrior in their lives. And for me, that was the meaning of being strong and being independent. That was meaning I get it, the success, the career, I don't need anybody to get there. And why I built that identity within me was because at that time I didn't feel having much resources. And so I wanted to be able to be self-reliable, independent, autonomous, that in situations where I would not have any resources, I could at least depend on myself. So this is an identity I created, and through that our lives, we create identities. We create an identity, we build ourselves around with identities. Being strong and independent has always been an identity I was going toward to, always. And that led me to go through engineering school, to go to university, to go abroad, to work in foreign countries, to leave my hometown, to leave my family. That led me to do a lot of things, to have the courage to try things and to do something and to push through things that were not easy, because the studies were not easy, because moving by myself was not easy, and being in a foreign country on top of that was not easy. Building everything from scratch, starting over, was not easy. But because I had built myself with the identity of the strong and independent woman, I could do it. It was helping me because I was the strong and independent woman that could do it all by herself. So the old pattern of society builds strong and independent around measuring this externally. We measure if we are strong and independent with the level of income we have, with the visible career path we choose, with achievement we have, if we can do everything without any help, if we don't need any partner or any family to do something, that we can raise children by ourselves all alone. Women get into that pattern of believing I can raise children all by myself without needing anybody help, which is very controversial. I'm gonna warn here. I believe is the biggest lie we can ever tell ourselves. I applaud women who did raise and are raising children by themselves alone, because they don't have the resources, they don't have the family, they don't have the partner. But this is not meant to be that way. I don't believe so. And this is the truth that is hard to hear, that is hard to accept, because that reflects of the identity. If I can do it by myself, but I identified myself with being strong and independent, needing nobody to do anything, then that means, did I lie to me? Did I lie to myself all those years? So here is a catch. I don't think that we lie to ourselves per se. I don't think that if we attached our identities of being strong and independent to needing nobody to do anything, having the success ourselves, having the family, raising children ourselves, creating multi-million-dollar business by ourselves without having any network, anything. It's not that we're lying to ourselves, because this is a truth for us at some point. It's an identity we build ourselves around, and anyone has its own reasons. Your reasons are going to be different than mine, and vice versa. However, today I believe it's important that we understand humans are social creatures that needs the group, that need the community to thrive and to evolve and to grow individually. So we need the group to grow individually, and that benefits the group to grow as a group. So now it's not facing that, who am I, if does that mean I'm not able to do things by myself or what? It's not about that at all. It's not about saying that you can't raise children by yourself alone. It's not saying that you can't have success by yourself without support and network and the contact that is going to get you where you want to go. It's not about that. It's about understanding that you create an identity that you build yourself around, and this identity serves you to go through certain circumstances in your life. So it serves you. However, life is not a continuing line. It's not a straight path. And so you're experiencing different chapters in your life. And at some point, the same identities that serves you now or served you for so long in the past, maybe at some point is not serving you anymore, because it creates internal conflict, and inside you, inner conflict, that you wonder why, if I'm being strong and independent, but my circumstances changed, does it mean I'm not strong anymore? Does that mean I'm not independent anymore? And I see for women, a lot of this is very easy to observe for women who are very achievement oriented in a career, in a job, and then have a family, and then eventually stop working for a little bit. But if they build their identity about being successful in a job, successful in a career, in achievements, being strong because you get the next job and then the next job and the promotion and then another promotion and another promotion and then you get a raise and better money. And if you build your identity of strong and independent like that, the day your circumstances change, you're going to question yourself, am I still strong? Am I still independent? What does that mean? That if I stop working to raise my kid, then I'm not strong anymore? I'm not independent anymore? If I don't have my own income, but I rely on my partner or family to have an income, what am I if I'm not independent? And then your identity crumbles because your circumstances changed. So, what I find is a lot more aligned and I believe true to focus on is not the definition of being a strong and independent person, but it's being a powerful person. And behind power, you have a lot of different descriptions. For you, that may be still strong, independent, but that can also be self-reliable, trustworthy, curious, action-oriented, problem-focused, solution-focused. Behind power, you have self-leadership, autonomy, self-reliability, self-responsibility. And when you look at those qualities, it's a lot harder to define them by circumstances because they are qualities that you develop in your personality. How do you lead yourself? How do you treat yourself? How do you treat others? How do you make decisions in life? How do you take your own responsibilities? How do you own your words? All this is beyond the circumstances because it's something you develop with the way you approach the circumstances. So it's not what's going on around you, it's how you are, who you are when things are around you. And so I found that feeling powerful is an inner state, while being strong and independent, even though you can feel strong and independent if you cultivate those feelings the right way, strong and independent, the way we see it generally, is something that is measured externally by society, by other people. And so you have different possibilities. Either you can redefine what being strong means to you, or redefine what being independent means to you, or you can shift the whole definition of strong and independent into refocusing on something else. It doesn't mean that you forget that it's maybe for you still important to be strong and independent in some way. However, the way you've been defining it for the past few years is maybe not in your best right now. If you feel the inner conflict around that, maybe it's time to shift the focus and to shift it to feeling powerful. Because then you have the mother that is raising 5 children and doesn't work, doesn't have her own income, and relies on her partner to sustain the whole family. She is damn powerful. She got a lot on her shoulder and she is super powerful. And the woman who got a super career for 20 years and is now promoted and get a higher salary and did the hard work, and she's also super powerful. Both are very powerful. So we get out of the focus of strong and independent, and we get into being powerful ourselves. What does that mean? And what does that mean depends on what you want it to mean. Feeling powerful is not a checklist that anybody is going to give us. Nobody can create a checklist. What is it? Me powerful. Me feeling powerful. Society cannot create a checklist of what it means for you to feel powerful. They can create a checklist for you what it means to be an independent person, woman or person. It cannot create a checklist what it means to me, to you, to be powerful. So what you can start to reflect on is, when do you feel powerful in your body? When you think about real power, about you being in your power, in your full self-leadership, what comes to your mind? And I wish I can talk a lot more about that, but I want to give you the room to reflect on that. Because this is a very, I think from the last few weeks, the biggest shift that I've been having is around this identity. This is identity work. It's around, I've spent 30 years building myself around being a strong and independent woman, but my circumstances changed. So what does that mean about me? Does that mean I'm not strong anymore? Does that mean I'm not powerful? I'm not independent anymore? And if I'm losing this identity, then what other identity do I have? And so that's a lot of identity work. But to do the identity work, we need to change the lens through we're watching ourselves. And that's a deeper level of self-awareness that I'm talking a lot about self-awareness for people who discover this work at the first layer of awareness, the metacognition, observing ourselves, the words we say, the action we have, and the behavior we have, and the action we take. But this here is a deeper level of self-awareness where we go to look at the identities we've been building for decades. How they served us, and are they still serving us in our best way, or are they creating inner conflict? Did I create some identities based on outside circumstances, or is this identity really based on my inner power, my self-leadership? And when you look at your inner power, when you look at being powerful, feeling powerful, it's so much deeper than looking strong and independent. Looking successful, according to whom? Standards? Society? When you focus on feeling powerful, you actually let go of an identity, but ultimately feeling powerful will lead you anyway to feel strong and independent. And this is the whole micmac in this story that you hear by the end of this video. I'll let you reflect on that. So, for vous, if you know that this conversation are very helpful. If you think, I encourage you to keep journaling. You have different ways to hear this conversation. You can either get the conversation while you do something else, hear a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or you can get full in and then listen to it attentively. Doesn't mean you have to watch the video but listen to it either here or in a podcast, and then take the time to reflect, answer the questions. I can assure you, there is no way I can prove to you until you try it. I can assure you, the writing, the journaling exercise, after watching this video, after reflecting on the questions, is what is going to unlock your potential a lot more. So how you use this material depends on you. There is different ways to use it, but how you beneficiate from it depends on how you use it. This conversation can go a lot deeper in any clarity call. Any. I just have different times. It's not 2 hours one is for beginners and the 3 months one for advanced. It depends on the topics you want to address. It depends on how much time you want to commit to those discussions. In 2 hours, we can have as much depth as in 3 months call. We're not going to cover all that we can cover in 3 months, of course. But the quality of the calls is the same. So there is each month limited spots on calls because I have just a few days reserved for those calls. If you feel called to book one, the link is available. Let me know. I drop the link in a section all the time. And if you're interested to know more, you can either go through all the videos here that are staying free, or you can also look at my newsletter. My newsletter and my podcast are the two main resources that I'm having for free for you to see what my work is about, to see what I want to share. The main way, the best way you can discover really what the calls are going to be about is all the videos I'm doing. It's all the discussions we're having here. Various things that we need to discuss. Sometimes that's at a more personal level, sometimes more related to work, and sometimes it's a little bit more bigger than that. It all depends, and sometimes it's all entangled with each other. But there are discussions that we need to have, and I wanted to create the space where we can have safe discussions. All right, that's it for today. I see you next time, and I talk to you soon.